All right, what up, Frontline? So sorry for the technical difficulties for those who tried to jump on a little bit ago. We tried to get it all worked out, but we think we have a good solution here. So hopefully everyone is able to view this and find this information to be pertinent to your lives. So my name is Q Phillips, one of the founders of Frontline. I get to wear dual hats today, one as a community Frontline member, and then also my hat as a Fort Worth ISD school board trustee. And I'm so grateful that today we get to have an educational update. It's been a lot of things going on since we have hit this little tumultuous time in our life with COVID-19 taking over everything that's happening on every front. And we wanted to make sure that we're able to get the proper information out there to the community about the state of education here in the Fort Worth. So we are so grateful that my man, the superintendent of Fort Worth ISD schools, were able to jump on. This is Dr. Kent P. Scribner. Kent, thank you so much for joining us today, man.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here with both of you.
Yeah, man. So first things first, before we get into the information, I just want to simply ask you, how are you and how is your family doing, man, during this time period?
Well, thank you very much. So we have 4 in the house right now. The oldest, the youngest, my wife and myself. We're all very busy. It's hard to believe how working from home can be as hectic and busy as it is. We're on phone calls, we're on Zoom meetings, we're participating. The little guy's doing his homework. He's a 6th grader, and our oldest just graduated from Arizona State. He's here. He was working with a radio station in Dallas, and of course that's now on hold. So we're all here just kind of hanging out and making the best of it. But I tell you what, we're making up for. We've had more dinners at home tonight. Dinners at home with the family in the last month than we did for the last 5 years, probably.
I'm telling you, same here. No, absolutely, man.
It's been great.
Well, I'm very glad.
So there's some blessings in the skies. The blessing in the sky.
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate that, man. So we got a few things that we'll get through the course of this conversation, little topics that we know that we've been hearing from the community that people would like to have updates on. And then for those who will be watching this video, even though it's not being live streamed at the moment, whatever platform you're watching it on, if you would leave us a comment or with any kind of question, particularly on our Facebook page, the Community Frontline, we would definitely be able to get that information to you if it's something that's not answered throughout the course of this video. So to jump in, man, so the first topic is food service, man. So one of the things that we've been able to figure out, and we've been able to see, you and I, as well as the rest of the community, is it really does, this crisis that we've been in has unveiled that there are still inequities, even though we already knew that, but it really got to rear its ugly head and show the inequities that are happening all over the country, all in our community, man. And so with that being the case, it really came to the forefront that the school systems are really the ones that are feeding a majority of our young kids around, our students and our young people around the country on a day-to-day basis, and that people are really relying on that food. So it's sad that that's the state of affairs, but thankfully school districts around the country have been stepping up and trying to make sure that we're filling that void in this time. So as far as Fort Worth ISD and our institution, could you give an update on kind of what's happening with our food service program?
Sure, thanks, Q. So you're absolutely right. I mean, the public schools in the urban cores across the city, across the country, really are the center of the community. When I talk about our schools, I often say Dunbar school community, the Eastern Hills school community, because it's both a community inside the school and outside the school, and nothing has shined a greater light on the disparities that exist in our communities, more so than this crisis. When we started, we talked about having 7 and then maybe later 10 feeding sites. As it turned out, we needed to have 18 sites, food distribution sites. We learned a lot. We were feeding over 50 to 60,000 meals a day. We have a system by which we started serving lunch every day, which was today's lunch and tomorrow's breakfast, so that families could come pick up food for their children. Any individual 18 years or younger can eat at any of our sites, and we have now 18 sites. we listened to our community and listened to our parents, and the feedback that they gave us was coming to school every day for one meal was cumbersome. So with all that's going on, needing to do online virtual learning and other responsibilities, and just the difficulties it is with people at home all the time, our houses feel a lot smaller when we're there all day long than they do when half of them are working or half of the members are at school. So what parents asked us was to have 2 days of food distribution. So instead of 5 days with one meal, we actually increased the number of meals. Now we're serving 2 days. We're serving 3 days of meals each food distribution day. So if it's a Tuesday and a Friday, on Tuesday they get 3 days worth of food. On Friday they get 3 days worth of food. So now we're getting 6 days worth of food. And we've really found that now as the crisis is lingering and continuing, that families are more and more depending on this food. The number of families who showed up every day has increased. We see the job layoffs. We see the kinds of businesses that are able to work remotely and the kinds that are unable to work remotely. And it's unfortunate that many of our families are in those positions where they are unable to work remotely. So our families are struggling financially. Social and emotional health of our students is of the utmost importance, and we want to make sure that we're meeting their food insecurity needs as well as their social and emotional health.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. No, I appreciate that. And so along with that, with us seeing how we had to fill the void food service wise and filling the void for those food insecurities, we were also able to see how the digital divide also reared its ugly head. So with FWISD, we were already 1-to-1 when it came to devices for our 6 through 12, for our middle school and high school students. Every one of those students already had a device to be able to utilize, but we didn't have that same ratio down in the elementary ranks. So we've been able to see that families have been needing access to be able to have a device, but then even when we're able to provide a device, that we also that there's families that can't utilize the device correctly if there's not Wi-Fi available for them. So I know that as a board, we just had a decision to be able to furnish more of those products to be able to help every family out. But if you could speak a little bit more to kind of where we are as far as with devices, hotspots, and kind of what we're doing with that digital divide as well.
Well, thank you. And first, I want to thank our board of trustees and you personally, Q, for supporting that recommendation to buy 6,000 hotspots. When we started, as you said, we've already provided a Chromebook for all students 6th grade through the 12th grade. So it really became an elementary issue. We were able to use some of our Title I dollars to buy all 5th graders Chromebooks. So now we're going to move down from 5th grade into the early years with iPads. What we found was of our 85,000 students, about 4,000 of them did not have a device, and these are your Kinder 1, 2, 3, 4 students. About 1,000 of them had a device but not reliable Wi-Fi, and another 4,000 had neither a device nor a Wi-Fi. So with the board's leadership, we were able to purchase 6,000 additional Wi-Fi hotspots, another 4,000 additional devices, and we're deploying those today. In fact, those 6,000 were configured this week, and we distribute them to the Dunbar Pyramid on April 21st. Eastern Hills, April 22nd, Poly, April 22nd, OD Wyatt, April 23rd, and Western Hills, April 23rd also. So we're moving our way through the district, again, with an equity lens, getting devices to those families who need them the most. But it really comes to a more fundamental question of equity. When we're talking about buying Wi-Fi or buying hotspots or buying devices, at some level, I want to say, I don't want hotspots. Hotspots are a 2-week, a 2-month temporary fix. It's a Band-Aid. What we need are Wi-Fi towers in East Fort Worth and Southeast Fort Worth. What we need is the AT&T and the major corporations to, if they're going to put one on one side of town, they should they should only get the permit to do that if they put one on the other side of town, so that we do have digital equity and digital fairness. Because as we move forward with this crisis, this may not be the only time that we are going to be educating virtually and at home learning. So right. It is patently unfair to have some students with robust Wi-Fi and other students without. And that's the conversation that I'm starting to have with our foundations and our philanthropic community. It's not about don't give me a Band-Aid. Let's fix the actual challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. And so you hit it right in the head, man. As far as we've been able to go in now. Here's the hotspots. Here's the devices. And then from the very beginning, right after spring break, as soon as we got off of that hiatus, we already had resources available online for people to be able to utilize to start the online learning before we got into the full curriculum that we're doing now, where teachers are having more contact and everything and being able to help, lay out assignments and help with assignments. But with that being the case, now with us knowing that that we're still working through making sure everyone has the device, has the hotspot and everything, how is grading now going to be working within the district? How does our policy look on that? What have we had to flip to and transition to as a district when it comes to grading now in this new era?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're grading the traditional A through F system in a patently unequal system where some students' houses have every student has a device and they have robust Wi-Fi versus another family that's sharing a device and Wi-Fi that's not dependable, then all your grading is privilege. All your grading is the ability to have the means, and that is patently unfair as well. So we moved to a pass-fail system. We want to see students make effort. We want our parents to support their students where possible. We want our teachers to reach out. Now, you can have pass-fail and still have rigor, because we're telling our teachers to provide feedback and lots of feedback and more feedback. So there's a two-way flow of information. You can still do pass-fail and benefit and grow. And we really want to make sure that we are touching as many students as possible. In fact, I know Quinton, you and I spoke with some leaders in the faith community in your part of town, and there was a desire to, in addition to have online and hotspots and devices, but to also have paper and pencil work and to send home workbooks and those kinds of things. So some parents and grandparents felt more comfortable doing that. So what we've done there is we've emptied out our warehouses, and we have sent and will continue to send paper and pencil work home. But it will be pass-fail. We want our teachers to engage. We want to provide our students with as much feedback as possible. Because when you think about it, the last day Fort Worth ISD had students in school was on March the 6th. The next day we'll have a normal regular school day. It will be in mid to late August. That's 5 months without going to school. So we're going to see some summer slides, some regression that we're going to have to get after and just dive in and from an equity lens, support those students in the greatest need from day one.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, man, when you talked about the rigor aspect, as putting on the other hat as well, outside of trustee and outside of community frontline, put on the parent hat, the rigor there, man. My sixth grader is getting on every day, and he's attending class every day, and he's doing assignments every day. So yeah, the rigor is definitely there, man, and that is a good thing. Absolutely.
And dad's algebra skills are getting better too, aren't they?
We'll see. I'm married a mathematician, so I don't have to worry about that. Yeah. I let my highly educated, beautiful wife handle the math parts of everything. I just get to be a cheerleader. So, but that transitions into the next little topic that I want to speak to a little bit, because I know that in my house, we do have Wi-Fi. We already had devices and things like that. And so, and even with that, I know that we still had to do some work in navigating what it was going to look like for him to be able to get on. And like I said, a sixth grader in my house and a kindergartner in my house. Figuring out kind of what the day and the structure and everything was going to look like for them, how to get on and log on to classes. I know that we had to do some work in making sure that all that was going to happen. So so for those out there, for the parents out there, for grandmother and grandfather, for auntie and uncle that are out there trying to help their young person to be able to navigate this now. What should they be doing in order to receive help? How are we helping those who, this is all new for everybody? So now, yeah, I got a laptop, I got access to internet, and now my young person has to get on here, and I don't know how to help them, what to do, what kind of advice should we be giving them, how should we be steering those people?
So a couple things. Well, one is if the parent or grandparent with a smartphone or a computer has access to the internet, please reach out to the district website, FWISD.org. On our website, there is a button to push called Let's Talk. The Let's Talk button goes to our staff and communications, and they direct it to the right departments. And we really try and get an answer back within 24 to 48 hours. So that's one option. And then obviously, you know, calling the school principal. We want all of our principals through the teachers to be available to parents and community with need. Again, the whole concept of school community. We want to have a two-way flow of information. So whether it's through our parent liaisons, whether it's through Parents as Teachers program, or whether it's through our principals. And at the end, I think in those cases that you're describing sound more like the elementary school than the middle and high school. I would really encourage our parents and grandparents to reach out to the school teacher, the classroom teacher, and then also the principal. And we'll be putting more contact information up on our website based on this conversation.
Absolutely. And so another couple quick things to be able to hit before we get ready to end this session is there any updates surrounding graduation? So we have seniors that we know, unfortunately, they missed that spring semester of sports. They missed being able to have prom. Now we're approaching graduation season, and we know that we're going to be shut down through the remainder of the academic school year. Any updates on anything of those natures about graduation?
Yeah, it just hurts. It breaks your heart to think of your own senior year in high school, my own senior year in high school, and how this group, the class of 2020, really missed out on their spring semester of their senior year in high school. It's a terrible, unfortunate circumstance. However, through this kind of adversity, young people grow character, and these are the experiences that are going to stay with them forever. Proms are canceled. We're working with our principals and working with the vendors to provide refunds to our students. I was on a call with the commissioner, and graduations that the advice that we're getting is no mass gatherings. While we would like to do something with perhaps even just students, direction that we're being given thus far is no mass gatherings. We'll be exploring any option where we could do that. We're working with our other large Texas urban districts. Some districts are talking about postponing graduation, maybe even into August, if students want to have it in person. But there are going to be students who don't want to have the in-person ceremony. So we're looking at virtual ceremonies. In fact, some of the companies who do the caps and gowns are advertising virtual graduations, where every student, there's a picture and a summary of their high school years. There's a slot for the principal to welcome. There's a slot for the valedictorian and the salutatorian. You can download a keynote speaker, so you can have Michelle Obama or Brene Brown or whomever be your high school keynote speaker, and we think those are options as well. The deciding factors are going to be the CDC guidelines as well as county and city restrictions. Safety has got to be first. That kind of leads us into the summer school conversation. Also in the meetings that I've been part of at the state level, the sense is that they're very unlikely to have person-to-person summer school in June. Likely what we would be looking forward to is a jump start either in late June or early July. I don't know if you're familiar, in some communities, we did summer school right after the end of the school year. In others, you get a jump start and do it toward the end of the summer. And then we hope to be back in normal person-to-person instruction in August. We're concerned, though, that the second wave of the coronavirus, including the flu, would be coming back in the fall. And there's some talk that we would have August and September in-person school, and maybe by October, November, have to go virtual again, have to close down again. So every week we're getting better at online instruction. We want to continue to improve just in case we have to do this next fall, and then even into the future. I think there are going to be some conversations about not going back to the old way and doing things in a new fashion with a balanced approach, with a hybrid approach, where students are coming to school for their experiential learning, for the social and emotional development, for their extracurricular music and athletics, and then some of the core academics can happen online. So I think we need to explore all of those options.
Absolutely, man. No, absolutely. So, I mean, so as far as the stuff that we have for today and the things that we know that need to be addressed, I think that we hit those for the most part. But again, of course, there'll be questions that arise from people who are able to view this video. So again, you can utilize that Let's Talk portion of the FWISD website if you want to ask any questions there, but also through Community Frontline. If you know how to get to us on Community Frontline, whether it be our Facebook, Instagram, any channels that we may have, email, we'll be more than happy to answer those questions directly or relay those questions over to those who may need to be able to answer them. But with that being the case, I know that I want to just take a quick moment to give a shout out to some of those, much like Dr. Scribner said about being able to contact those campuses and those campus principals. Those that I've been able to have direct contact with have been absolutely phenomenal at serving the community and helping the students. Martha Plata has been great, Christine McLeod, Dr. Christina Hansen, Oscar Adams over at Dunbar High School, Rodney White. And I know that I'm naming folks. When I start naming folks, that means I'm going to leave out some others, but please, if I did leave you out, know that I still think that it's a phenomenal job going. But those are some of the ones I've been able to have some direct conversation with, being able to see them in action. And I'm just so pleased and proud of the efforts that's going on there with them. And then, Ken, as we get ready to wrap up, I know one of the things that we want to be able to give to the community as well is how can people be helping during this time? If there's anybody out there who wants to be able to help students who are concerned about the district, who wants to see things go well. I know that we've organized with a lot of churches and nonprofit partners, things like that. How can people be helping during this time period?
Well, I thank you for that. We have 85% of our families live at or below the federal poverty line. So basic food insecurity issues, basic needs, really reaching out through an organized system like a church to your local communities, just checking on your neighbors, making sure people are okay. You can do that in a social distancing way. And really checking on each other, because these are tough times and there's lots of stress. There's financial stress, there's stress with the schoolwork, there's job stress, there's food insecurity stress, and we know that unfortunately the cases of abuse are increasing. Schools, in fact, are typically the place where lots of those are noticed and reported. We're mandatory reporters. So to the extent to which we can reach out to our neighbors, we can check on anybody in the community who may need help. We'd really appreciate it. These are times where we all have to pull together, and we will get through this, and we'll be stronger as a result. But I'm a huge proponent of continued communication and a two-way flow of communication, where we're listening to our parents in our community, and we can also share information with them. So to the extent possible, particularly with our younger students, reaching out to the schools and the principals and asking for what their specific needs are. I know that the food insecurity remains an issue. I know there's some concern about the supply chain. So the extent that we can donate to feeding Fort Worth and feeding America is important.
Absolutely. Well, man, I'll say this. I just want to quickly say thank you to my colleagues on the board with me. I can say to a man, to a woman, they have been putting young people first, and it's been amazing to see that shift in dynamic that's been happening with our board, and just phenomenal people who really care about making sure that the students and the families in our communities are served. So I'm so grateful for them. And then, hey, a direct thank you to you, Kent, and your staff, the administrative team. Since, like I said, the second this hit, y'all sprung into action. Y'all got no spring break whatsoever. Y'all went straight into working council plans and going full force into making sure that our district was staying afloat. And then not that we were just solely surviving, but that we were continuing to thrive in this time period, man. And I just cannot thank you enough for your leadership, your guidance, and all the sacrifices that you and your family have been making during this time, man. So kudos to you. Much appreciation. Seriously, man. Job well done so far. Yeah. So
thank you for your leadership.
You already know, man. I got you back. But with that being the case, thank you, Frontline, for tuning in. Any questions you may have, hit us up. We thank Dr. Scribner for taking time out of his schedule to make sure that we're updating the community. We will make sure the community has all the information they need. And of course, Community Frontline will be out making sure that we're taking care of folks. So you check your inbox, check our Facebook page, because we have a link where we are helping folks. So if there are people out here who need help with groceries, with utility assistance, with we're trying to get masks right now. There's a lot of things the community at Frontline is doing right now, just trying to make sure we're playing our role. Feel free to hit us up, let us know. If you want to volunteer in some way, we will take that. If you want to donate, we will take that. So that information will be available. We definitely solicit your prayers. We'll solicit your guidance. We solicit you volunteering, and we solicit your donations. And we just thank you for everyone who's doing their part out there. So for Community Frontline, we're going to sign off. Thank you, everybody, for what you're doing out there. Thank you, Dr. Scribner, and we will see you all very soon.
Thank you.